We are going to start today solving the example 4 from the topic, the slope formula. So we are working in the page 256. We need to find the slope from an equation. The example 4 is about finding the slope from an equation. So we need to find the slope from this equation. I have 6x minus 5y equal 30. The first step we need to do is to find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we are going to replace the other variable with 0. In this case, y has to be 0. I'm going to change the color in here. Okay, now I'm going to use the black one. So I need to find first the intercept. The intercept is, remember, you have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. The x is when y is equal 0, the x-intercept. So the step 1, we are going to find the x-intercept. I have this formula, I'm going to write it in here. When you have this, y has to be equal 0. Now you have the equation 6x minus 5y equal 30. If you replace y by 0, so I'm going to change 6x minus 5 multiplied by 0, because remember I replaced the y with 0. So this is going to be equal 30. And now what I'm going to do, if I multiply in here, what are we going to obtain? I have 6x minus what? 5 times 0, that is going to be 0. So I don't even need to copy this. I can say that 6x is all equal 30. Because you have 0 in here, you don't have to write the 0. So I have that 6x equal 30. What are we going to do? Remember, I need to isolate the variable. I want the variable to be alone. So the number 6 that is multiplying my variable, I need to pass it to the other side to divide. X is equal 30 divided by 6. So what is the value that I'm going to obtain? When you divide 30 by 6, you obtain that x is equal 5. So this is going to be the y-intercept, the x-intercept, sorry. X is going to be 5. And you can write it in this way. You can write the ordered pair. X is 5, but y is 0. Remember, we start the intercept when y is 0. So now I need to find in the other part the y-intercept. I'm going to do it in here. Find the y-intercept. Okay, guys, these kind of examples, they are easier than the other ones we were studying. I think that you have more complicated when you need to graph something. Okay, but in this case, you only need to find replacing the value for the variable. If I'm looking for the x-intercept, I replace y with 0. And if I'm looking for the y-intercept, I'm going to replace x, sorry, this is x. I'm going to replace x with 0 because it's the other variable. The other variable what I need to replace. So I copy the equation 6x minus 5y equal 30. And I have to replace that x is going to be equal 0. So I have to multiply 6 times 0 minus 5y equal 30. When we multiply this, we have 0 minus 5y equal 30. What is going to happen with this 0? Okay, if I don't want, I don't write the 0. I only keep the negative for the 5y, because the 5 is negative in this case, is taking this negative, and this is going to be 30. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to have that y, my variable y, is going to be 30 divided by negative 5. Yes, because this negative 5 is multiplying my variable, so I need to pass it to divide. And what is going to happen next? Y is going to be equal, when you divide 30 by negative 5, you're going to obtain negative 6. In the order pair, you can write this. What is the value for the x? 0, right? And the value for y is going to be negative 6. So this is the x-intercept and this is the y-intercept. Okay, we have 2 points. Remember, I need 2 points to find the, to find the slope. In this case, you want to find the slope. I need 2 points, so I already have the 2 points I need. We obtained 2 points, and these 2 points is going to help me to obtain the slope. This is what I'm looking for. So I can write in here the text to find the slope. I'm going to use another color to find the slope. This is the example 3. This is the part 3, sorry. Find the slope when you have the points. You have that the line contains the points 5, 0 and 0, negative 6. I'm going to write this below so you can see it better. The line contains these points, so we use the slope formula. Do you remember about the slope formula? The slope formula, m, this is going to be the same, so you need to memorize this. Y divided by x, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So this is what we have in here. And I need to replace the values. When I replace the values, I obtain that m is equal. The value for y, the first value is negative 6. This is the point 2. I'm going to write in here. This is the point 2. So you can see it. And I'm going to write in here. This is the point 1. I'm going to draw a line, an arrow. So this is the point 1 and this is the point 2. I write this because I wanted to see with what numbers I'm going to work. Now to find m, I replace the values. Y2 is negative 6 minus, the minus is from the formula, guys. You are not going to change the minus that is in here. Only if you have another minus with the number, it's going to be positive. You can change the minus if you have another minus. But in here is negative 6 minus 0. And this is divided by, I'm going to use parentheses maybe. I can use the parentheses. And the values of x, you have x2 is 0. 0 minus x1, x1 is 5. So this is what you have for the values of x. I subtract to obtain the value of the slope. And we have that m is equal negative 6 divided by negative 5. Negative 6 divided by negative 5. So finally, the slope is equal a positive number, that is 6 over 5, because negative divided with the negative, so you are going to obtain a positive number. This is the value we have for the slope. I'm going to draw this so you can see it better. This is the value we have for the slope. M is equal 6/5. Okay, then. I'm going to. This is the value for the slope we were looking for. Using the 2 points we obtained the x-intercept and we obtained the y-intercept. The slope is a formula. Remember, we are going to use the same formula always to obtain the slope. Okay, I try to repeat sometimes, guys, because I don't know if you are okay understanding completely, and you don't ask, maybe because you are shy or something like that. I don't know, but I want to be sure that you're understanding this. Okay, so I'm going to make a pause again, and I'm going to ask you if you have any question or something like this. We can go to this section 4.3, the rate of change and slope. I'm going to use a new space. In the first one, we have some theory with history about this. We go to the definition. The definition is a rate of change in the yellow underlined part in the second paragraph. A rate of change is a ratio that compares the amount of change in a dependent variable to the amount of change in a dependent variable, in an independent variable. So we are going to use the rate of change. This is to explain you what's happening with this slope, okay? Why the formula and what is happening in the graph, only for you for understand better. I think that you are going to understand better. So the rate of change, imagine that this is the slope of the graph, right? It's like I'm talking about the M. The rate of change is going to be equal the change in cost, change in, I'm going to move this in here and I'm going to expand it. The change in cost, okay, too much. In here is perfect. The change in cost is divided by the change in years. Change in years. This is for the example one. I'm going to keep this in here, but I'm going to write the original one. What is the original one we have? The rate of change equal the change in the dependent variable, change in the dependent variable in this, I need more space, over the change in the independent variable, change in the independent variable. I don't need this word. That's the reason why it doesn't fit. Okay, so the rate of change is the change in the dependent variable. I'm going to write the line so you can see the division. I'm going to use this for the example one, so I am going to write in here the example one so you don't get confused. This one. In here, I'm going to write it in here. Okay, selection. Okay, this is for the number one. This other is for the, this is in general. I'm going to select, this is in general, okay? And if we replace this using variables, maybe you understand better about this. The rate of change, we are going to relate it with any variable. For example, I can use the variable m. This is equal the change in the dependent variable. When you have something, when you have this, for example, I'm going to erase this because later I'm going to do it again. In this part, I'm going to write something for you. What is the dependent variable and the independent variable if I have this? Y equal any equation, okay? Mx plus b. This is my equation. Y is equal, I'm going to give you an example. Maybe for the number 1, we can use the equation if you have someone. No, okay, you don't have an equation. I'm going to write anyone. It doesn't matter about this. I'm only going to show you the form of the graph. You have that y is equal to 2 times x plus 3. This 3 is the y-intercept. Remember, okay, b is the y-intercept. Maybe we are going to use it later. So it's better if you remember about this. The number that is multiplying my variable x, what is? The slope m. So in this case, the slope is 2. But when you have this equation, how you find what is the dependent variable and the independent variable? Remember, we study about this in the first topic from this section, the first topics. The dependent in this case is going to be y, because y is the dependent, okay. Is dependent variable. I don't know why in here I write an a. Sorry, this is a e, only that I get confused and I write an a. So y is the dependent, and because it depends on the value for x. Can you see it? If you change the value of x, the value of y is going to change. And I'm going to write on the other side, okay? X is independent. Why is independent x? Because x doesn't depend on the value of y. You can give any value for x, and it's going to change the value for the other variable, y. So in this case, for example, this is what I was telling you. I know that we don't have much time. I'm only going to finish this. I'm going to write the formula so you are going to see it better. The change in the dependent variable. What is the dependent variable? Y. And this is over the change in the independent variable. The independent variable is x. But you only have y over x. Is a change, so I'm going to do the subtraction. The subtraction of what? Subtraction of the 2 points, we need to find the slope. So I have the subtraction of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I think that now you recognize this equation. So I'm only going to write in here the division. And this is the formula we were using about the slope. The change in the dependent variable is the change in the variable y, and the change in the independent variable is the change in the x, because x doesn't depend on any variable. You can give to x the variable x, the value you want, and okay, there is any problem. There is not going to be any problem. With y, yes, if you change the value for x, you can increase or decrease the value. So that's the reason why it depends on the value of x. So I'm going to finish in here this part, guys. So I hope that you understand, at least you know now where we obtain this formula. So see you tomorrow, guys. Try to study, and tomorrow we continue with this topic, okay? So have a nice day, guys.